Heroes. When Shao Peng walked out of the gate of the Research Institute, it was not yet 12 o'clock. At 12:30 the staff was going to give her a farewell party. She must be back for it. The June sun in New York was very bright. She walked the whole of 16th Street across 6th Avenue. She smelled veal and pepper from the hero shop. She had worked at the Institute for 3 years, and she had bought her lunches at the hero shop for almost that long. She was paid once a month. The first part of the month, Shao Peng had money, so she went there every day. Around the middle of the month, her salary went for opera and concert tickets. The hero shop was owned by 2 brothers, Raymond and Tony. Their heroes were foot-long sandwiches. The outside was crusty Italian bread. There were 2 kinds of insides. The cold ones were stuffed with turkey, ham, chicken, roast beef, cheeses, onions, lettuce, tomato. The hot ones changed every day. Monday it was Italian meatballs, Tuesday veal and pepper, Wednesday Parmesan cheese and eggplant, Thursday pastrami, Friday fried fish fillet. Shao Peng's breakfast usually consisted of a piece of toast, a glass of milk, an apple, and 1 multiple vitamin. She had no time for dinner either. She rushed to evening classes right after work, grabbing a cold sandwich from the school cafeteria and washing it down with a cup of coffee while on her way to class. After classes was the highlight of her day. Once or twice a week she would go to concerts or operas. During that time she was full of spiritual food and was never hungry. The smell of veal and pepper got stronger as she turned onto 16th Street. She pushed open the door of the hero shop. There was already a line. Many of the customers were native Indians who worked on top of the skyscrapers nearby. A job in the sky might be easier for them than cliff climbing to look for the food of their ancestors. Sometimes when she walked underneath these scaffolds, Shao Peng heard whistles from high above. She knew they were from those people when she stood in line behind them in the hero shop, but she never looked up. Very often Shao Peng was the only female customer in the hero shop, because a hero had more than 1,000 calories, and women who were diet-conscious never visited the place. But she was active from morning till night, and she never gained 1 ounce from eating the foot-long sandwiches. "How come you're here today?" Tony said. It was June 25th, and a week away from the beginning of the month. She smiled at him. She didn't want to tell him that she had already found a new job and was leaving her old one today and probably would never come back to buy a hero from them again. Tony called out to his brother, who was cutting cold cuts and cheese at the machine. "Look who's here, Raymond," he laughed and flipped the pages of the daily calendar on the wall behind him all the way to July the 1st. Shao Peng had been an old customer. Tony often joked with her, and the men in line always laughed with him. She did too. Today she kept smiling, but her nostrils felt pinched. "I have come to say goodbye. Do you know that, Tony and Raymond?" It was her turn. Tony pointed to the veal and pepper, and she nodded. He swiftly cut the bread in half and stuffed in them as much veal and pepper as he could. He added a few more pieces of veal. Then he wrapped the bulging hero in wax paper. He used tongs to take out a big pickle and wrapped it separately. "This is free," he smiled and said. He put them in a sandwich bag and handed it to her. She paid him and hurriedly walked out. She walked in the shade of the tall buildings that lined the street until she was almost to 6th Avenue, then looked back. The window of the hero shop was blurry, not only because of the steam from the hot food inside, but because her eyes were also moist. She turned to 6th Avenue with a hero in her hand and walked straight to the bookstore. Every month after the 15th, she had to save money, and she always spent her lunch hour in the bookstore, not buying, but reading. In front of the store was the kosher hot dog stand of Old Murray. The hot dogs were priced 2 for 1. Old Murray was bald and his sideburns were white. She always thought Murray could have retired a long time ago, and he must love books because he had his stand in front of the side door of the bookstore. The hot dogs were much cheaper than heroes. "These hot dogs were blessed by rabbis," Murray told Shao Peng once, "and his condiments, catsup, sauerkraut, mustard, and relishes, were special too." Those blessed hot dogs in water in a stainless steel container were crisp and delicious. After she gulped them down, she would go directly to the store. She had spent more than 300 hours in that store, enjoying reading Dante, Chaucer, Shakespeare, Wordsworth, Shelley, Keats, Dickens, Conrad, Woolf, Joyce, Eliot, all because of the nourishment from the hot dogs from Murray's stand. She stood in line. Murray handed the hot dogs to her, expecting her to swallow them down right there. "I'm not going to eat them right now. Could you wrap them up for me?" she said. Murray looked at her. He wrapped the hot dogs carefully, put them in a bag, and added an extra handful of small ketchup and mustard packages. "Murray, you probably don't know that today it will be the last time I will buy hot dogs from you," she thought. Shao Peng thanked him and quickly turned her back. In the window of the bookstore, she could see the reflection of Murray carefully dishing out the hot dogs from the steamy hot water, putting them in the roll and then adding sauerkraut and catsup. Those who have suffered feel reverent about everything, Shao Peng thought. Murray had been in a concentration camp when he was young, and he sold his hot dogs like they were gifts from God. Shao Peng wiped her eyes. With the hero in one hand and the hot dogs in the other, she walked quickly toward 18th Street. She heard a sharp whistle from high above. She stopped and looked up at the sun. The whistle suddenly ceased. They didn't know she was saying goodbye to her black-haired friends who shared perhaps the same remote ancestors with her. The party was in the conference room on the 3rd floor. She put the hero and the hot dogs in the drawer and walked up the stairs. She looked into the conference room. On the long table were trays of finger sandwiches, a cake, and a bowl of punch. She heard her boss's mezzo-soprano laughter. Shao Peng wiped her eyes and walked in smiling.